Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we have play-up props here for you guys on a Tuesday night, an 8-game slate for us to choose from in this one. We've also got a couple other game videos up for you, so make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Check everything out we've got for you guys this season. Also want you to head to thelines.com, check out all the great written content we have up there. Nate's throwing picks up there. I'm throwing picks up there. Mo's throwing picks up there. We've also got some March Madness stuff, lots of March Madness stuff for you as we move into that part of the month as well. So continue to follow along there and use that odds finder tool real quick. Nate and I are using that every morning as we shop these lines, especially on these NBA player props. Make sure we're getting the best juice back on all these odds available to us. Nate, let's go ahead and get into your first NBA player prop for tonight, Mr. Davis.
Yeah, AD has been kind of quiet. I mean, really quiet against Toronto, where Josh wanted the over, and I was a little more skeptical because of his recent splits. Just throwing that out there, but Josh did kill it last night. Digressing here. The point is his points rebounds are down about 3 here to a more reasonable 39.5. Points are only at 26.5 or 27 if you want better odds there. And I think he's just going to have a pretty big game here, coming off 17 and 16 against the Knicks' top-rated paint defense, and now facing a Pelicans team that, most importantly, struggles to keep people off the line recently, 8th highest free throw attempt rate from opponents. And you look at a guy just like Paolo Banchero, 29 points with 11 free throw attempts when the Magic beat the Pels a couple weeks ago. Obviously, AD, a much bigger and more formidable guy to deal with, and they haven't been able to deal with him, Jonas Valanciunas and company. He had some monster games in his revenge spot when he first joined the Lakers and played the Pels. Quiet for a while as he dealt with some injuries, but into this season, he's averaging 31 and 12, shooting 62% from the floor with a 134 offensive rating. And of course, LeBron was in for one of them without him, and now playing without Bron in his last 2 road games, 29 and 17, and also getting the free throw line 11 times a game. So I think that's where he's going to do the bulk of his scoring. I think that's going to help the Lakers play at the pace they want here. And, I also think the Pelicans are a pretty bad offensive team, and that's going to be a ton of rebounding opportunities, really on both ends of the floor for AD, which is where he's been making his hay. So double in a win, whatever those odds generate you on the player performance doubles, and maybe like 28 points in a win or 30 points in a win. I do think AD is going to get his tonight.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, I felt a little bit spurned. I was scared. It was 42.5 points and rebounds prop or whatever the other night, and AD does not play well against Toronto. Then he comes back with 17 points against the Knicks, right? Like the Knicks, we talked about that. Mitchell Robinson was actually a beast in that game, despite not being able to hit his shots, which was weird because normally he's shooting like 100% from the field. But either way, yeah, I think he was pretty effective still getting those 16 boards against Mitchell Robinson. So I like the rebounds in there a lot, to be honest with you, in this game. And like I was talking about in the game video, Joe Val not playing nearly as much. You can expect AD to pretty much consistently be the biggest dude on the floor for this game, as he's going to play closer to 35-40 minutes than he is the 20 and 19 that Joe Val's been getting. So I think it's a pretty good spot for him, despite that I feel spurned right now. I'm going to go under on a big man, and he's going to be playing center in this game, and that's Evan Mobley, because Jared Allen's not playing in it. Off bat, probably scary to take an under on Evan Mobley points and rebounds right now in general, especially against a Charlotte Hornets team that has been known for seasons in a row as one of the worst down low defenses. I have counters to that, though. So it's 31.5 points and rebounds. That's minus 120 on DK. It's very high, like really high, because his points is at 19.5. His rebounds is at 11.5, right? That's ridiculously high. He just played against this team, against Charlotte, without Jay Allen 2 days ago, had 18 points and 9 boards. That was in 39 minutes versus them as well. He actually gets fewer points per game when Jay Allen's not around, so he gets 15. It's the same pretty much, but he gets 15.8 when without Jay Allen, and then with Jared Allen in there, he gets 16. Obviously, the rebounds go way up. He has 11 boards a game when Jared Allen's not in there, versus about 9 when he is in there. So he gets 2 more of them, but all these numbers are still well below this 31.5 points and rebounds prop. You look at his last 10 games overall, Mobley, and he's averaged 18, 9 boards. in about 35 minutes a game, and has only gone over this prop twice in his last 10 games. So Charlotte, say what you will about them, they've in their last 7, they've actually gone from like allowing the second most amount of points to centers to the 8th fewest. So do with that what you will. I mean, they're getting a lot better. They still give up a decent amount of rebounds to opposing centers. And make no mistake, Evan Mobley's playing center tonight. There's no Jared Allen, and there's nobody else above like 6'8" on this team anymore with Kevin Love gone. So it's Evan Mobley down low by himself, where he scores a few less points. And I think you can expect him to stay under a really, really high points and rebounds prop tonight.
Yeah, this is high. Like, what Evan Mobley are we looking at? A guy who like almost never scores more than 17 a game and is not like a monster rebounder, even in the spot. Yeah, 11 rebounds is high for him. But how's he getting over 30 in this? Like the usage rate isn't really going to change. It's still going to be those two guards taking all the shots. And then you got a blowout factor too. I mean, you either got Charlotte, mucking it up right now and trying to keep it low scoring without LaMelo, or just folding completely. And their defense has been a little bit better at home all season. So I think this is a good call for sure. I'm taking the over for Mikal Bridges here. I wanted to look at the Nets and Thunder and try to predict a Thunder win because the Nets are frustrating me and everybody who's tailing that bet right now to see them in the play-in tournament as they just continue to win because Mikal Bridges is playing out of his mind. Basically, if he's not playing a top-tier defense like the Knicks or Bucks or Bulls, he's been dropping like 28 plus. You exclude him when he had short minutes against the Knicks and Bucks in some short rest spots. He's averaging 28 a game in his last 8, hitting 3 threes as well. I think the bet here for 3 threes at plus 105 is really good odds. Don't hate either 26 points, minus 105 there. Look, he scores against OKC. He averaged 20 a game on 50% shooting his last 2 with Phoenix, but that was obviously on a much smaller usage rate than he's going to have here. Now he's playing a lot more 2-guard too. OKC does give up the 6th most threes to shooting guards on the season. And he's just been lights out in this high usage role, showing what he can do. Shooting's 51, 48, 90 splits here with Brooklyn as just clearly the number one option. So like him here. And kind of like SGA on the other side here, because if Mikal's going to be an offensive, high usage guy, I don't think he has the energy to also try to shut down SGA, which he was able to do a little bit when he was with the Suns.
And that was my thought process too. And I kind of thought about an SGA over because of that. I was like, is Mikal even going to be chasing him everywhere? And if you look at SGA versus the Suns, he did score, get over his 30-point prop tonight in that last one. I also wonder, I didn't really look up at the matchup stuff with Bridges to see how much he's actually guarding SGA. It would be the best player to do so when you're playing the Thunder if you're the Suns, but like also you have really, really good team defense, and like, do you really want to put him, do you care? Maybe whatever, either way, like in this one, he's their 1A scorer without a doubt. So I also like the 3-pointers to get those plus odds there. So I'm talking Immanuel Quickley to finish off the props today, Nate. And you called this one out as well. I like it. And look, Jalen Brunson doesn't play. Take this prop. Very simple. If he does play, it's not the worst, but it's a little bit scarier, right? It's a lot of it scarier. But
Jalen's doubtful though, so
at this point he's doubtful. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Right. Yeah. At this point, it's not even questionable for him. So over 19.5. Really feel good about that with Jalen almost definitely not playing. And the 9.5 rebounds and assists is really good for young Quick as well. In his last 7, which just don't even talk about that game against Sacramento where he had 3 points. He didn't even get that many minutes. Jalen was in there expecting him to play, and then he got hurt and had to leave. And that's the only reason, Quickly even got enough minutes in that one. But 22 a game in the last 7, 4.5 boards and about 4 assists. And then playing pretty well against Portland as well in his last 2 versus them, getting a decent amount of minutes, close to 30. So he got 18 points, 4.5 boards, and about 5.5 assists there. Actually had a plus 24 when he was on the floor. About a 22% usage rate rather, and 7 for 13 total from deep, better than 50% in these last 2 versus Portland. So look, we know how bad Portland is on defense. We talked about it in the game video. They're worst in pretty much every metric, or at least bottom 5, let's say, in every metric that you would care about when you're trying to play defense well. And Quickly, like when he obviously, he's the point guard when Brunson's not in there, his usage rate goes from 23% to 19%. Although even with Jalen in there over the last roughly like 7 games that they did play together before Brunson got hurt, Quickley was still getting about an 18-19% usage rate. So like getting some decent shots up. But most importantly, when Jalen Brunson does not play, he scores 10 more points a game, right? He gets up to 22 and a half a game with about 6.5 assists, 5.5 boards, getting about 42 minutes a game in those 8 games rather, that he has played without Jalen Brunson this season, right? Like getting more than 40 minutes a game is like, no, you don't do that anymore. And he's doing that in those games because they really, he's their backup point guard. So you put him in and you really don't feel too comfortable about too many other guys out there on the floor with Julius Randle. And so, yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity for Quickley for whatever stats you want to take. The points and the rebounds and assists is all going to look good for him tonight.
Yeah, I'm most interested in the assists, but it's like minus 160 for him to have 5 dimes. So that's why I think it's great if you just tack on some rebounds and get plus odds all of a sudden. I mean, his rebounding hasn't been that high lately because the Knicks have so many big bodies, but I think there's going to be so many available rebounds if Damian Lillard's not playing tonight and if Portland's offense is just completely stuck in the weeds. So I do think that you can kind of package it together here. And yeah, they're just 28th in defensive rating, dead last at home, basically over the last month is Portland. So there should be plenty of stats to go around.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would be fine if you wanted to take an alt on the assists to get it up to 7 or to get up to 6, because he's averaging basically 7 assists a game without Brunson this season. So feel pretty good about that. The rebounds and assists, he is averaging 12, and you got this thing at plus odds for him to get 10. You can also look at some double stuff in there, but I think Quickley's a good guy to bet on tonight for sure. So that is all the time we have for you in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Check out the other couple game videos we have for you as well. Until we see you next. Happy betting.